Praise the Lord. My name is Juana Salas, and I just wanted to say how much of a blast I had being interviewed by the man, the myth, the legend, TheBowtieManElias. He is one of the most intelligent, articulate young people that I have met in my entire life, and I cannot wait to see what God is going to do with him. I know for a fact that the Lord has great plans for his life, and that I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope that you continue your fight in God's kingdom for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, because these three rights are rights given to us by God, and as apostolics or Christians, it is our job to preserve these and to continue the fight for God's kingdom. I don't know, you may be on the praise team, you may be serving as an usher, or even in the children's ministry, but this is all an essential body of Christ to continue to draw people to his kingdom. So yes, and I guess enjoy the show, and God bless you guys. Bye.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Link Up, where we link up with influential Christians and influential people that can contribute to your life. And we're going to be talking to Juana Salas on my live, and I'm really, really excited to have her here today. She's a really, really good friend of mine. And look, here, I'm going to do a little introduction. So she is the vice president of the Lake County Young Republicans, youngest in the state, guys. Youngest. How old are you again?
I'm 18.
She's 18 years old. Were you 18 when you did this?
I was 17, actually.
She was 17 years old, guys. She wasn't even of age. She is the chairwoman and co-founder of Young Americans for Freedom at WTHS. So,
my high school.
Your high school. That's amazing. So, I mean, welcome, Juana. Let's have you greet us.
Well, praise the Lord, guys. I'm not really sure how to do this, so yeah, he kind of said it all for me.
That's cool. No, of course. It's cool. So what we're going to do today is basically I'm just going to ask a couple questions, obviously, right? It's an interview. And, I am convinced, and I know that you will be one day the first woman president of the United States of America. And guys, I'm telling you guys right now, you guys are going to want to screen record this, and you guys are going to want to look back in time when she becomes the first woman president, God willing, primeramente Dios, hopefully, this thing doesn't kill us all, right? No, I'm just kidding. No. But guys, she has so much potential. It's ridiculous. So basically, it's going to be me asking you a question. You're just going to respond, right? And, go speak your heart out, right? Speak your heart out. So basically, one thing that I want to see is how is the situation with the coronavirus in Chicago right now? Because I know in California, it's kind of like we've already been in it and we're kind of getting used to it and we're being bums and binge watching Netflix. But how is it for you guys over there in Chicago?
Well, it's kind of chaotic because everything is practically closed, so a lot of small businesses are beginning to suffer as a result of that. A lot of fast food restaurants are doing catering and drive-through service, and a lot of people, especially a lot of conservatives here, are taking that as a threat to their freedom, and they say, oh, well, it's totally big brothery, and this is the path to a socialist state by listening to the governor. And a lot of people have this conspiracy theory. I'm kind of skeptical of this myself, that because the government was able to round up several people and tell them, hey, stay indoors, guys, that may open a path to removing people's freedoms. And that's kind of the direction that conservatives have begun to feel, that their freedom is being threatened. And in regards to everything around us, well, people aren't listening. People are still going out and about. 3 people in my church were 3 confirmed cases of corona, so pray for them.
Yes. Wow, yeah. That is tremendous. You know what? Same thing here. I just dropped off my mother at her work earlier today, and same thing. A bunch of people at UCSD just running around, and then this lady, she had her 2 kids in the little crib, and she was like not a crib, the little carts.
Yeah.
And it's pouring, it's raining too, and she's running. It's running, and the kids are with no top. And my mom not only are they gonna get sick with the coronavirus, but they're gonna get sick with something else, right? Like the cold. But dude, that's incredible. That's crazy how this like thing has like literally it's a global pandemic. Like never like I remember when I first heard pandemic, I hadn't heard that word since like middle school or elementary school
Like the
because people
Black
would like
Death or polio or the
yeah,
measles. It's crazy.
exactly. So it's like I was like pandemic. I'm like, wait, what does that mean again? So it's crazy. It's crazy. But you know what? Let's we're here. I just wanted to get that because I know
Mhm.
people are like what's because I'm from California. I know if there's people from Texas here, people from Arizona here. They already know what's going on. But
Mhm.
I know that people don't really know what's going on in Chicago. But that's thank you for telling us. Like we'll be praying for. I mean, we're praying for the whole entire nation, but we'll be praying for Chicago as well. So here's the next question. So where did you because like I know that you're really heavily involved in politics. So where did this come from? Where did this like start at? Like tell me, give me your first of all, I want to know your life story as well. But I want to hear you like what is like the defining moment that made you realize that you wanted to become the next woman, the first woman president of the United States of America.
Well, it all kind of began. So I wasn't a Christian my whole life. I was raised Catholic because when your parents come to this country as immigrants, a lot of them are Catholic by default. They've never heard anything besides Catholicism, La Virgen de Guadalupe, and all these things. And I was like, okay, if my parents are Catholic, then I'm gonna identify as such. Even though we were like creasters, we would only show up to church on Christmas, Easter, and when it was convenient, and or when we remembered. So that was kind of that. And it wasn't until I started attending a Bible study that I just remember it smelled like cinnamon all the time. They always had free coffee and free ponchas, and like I was like, that's where I want to be. And then my mom eventually started tagging along, and then my dad, and ever since that, like we found that God, specifically the Apostolic Church, were able to fulfill a lot of the voids and a lot of the questions that we previously had. And I mean, we were happier, and that's kind of where um, it started. But I became a conservative because I mean, when you're Hispanic, you're taught that, oh, you have to lean to one side politically, that you must be a liberal, you must identify with the left because they're the only ones who care about you, they're the only ones who will stand up for you. But I felt this conflict because I'm pro life, and yes, I am pro life. I'm proud of it, and I'm going to admit it. And I believe in traditional marriage. I know that's not very popular, and even I've been embarrassed to say that. And I'm like, yeah, I support the gays too, when that's not true. But I've always been, I love them, and I be praying for them. Love the sinner, hate the sin. And man, I was so scared to say that like out loud. But it wasn't until I attended my first political conference with a great organization by the name of Turning Point USA that I started to find that the people there saw Juana for being Juana, not for being, oh, this little Mexican or this person. They just saw me for me. And we were all on the same battlefield fighting for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in life. And just God. And it was so nice that they didn't care about the color of my skin. They didn't care about my socioeconomic status, and that's what drew me to the conservative movement. So yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know if you have any more questions.
That's amazing. No, so from that, I'm gonna ask you two after this question. So you weren't born in the church. You were Catholic. So what was the thing that kind of like drove you, like other than like the belief system, and because obviously you have a different belief system and whatnot from the Catholic Church and whatnot. But was there something about like the what is it called the fellowship? Was that the thing that drove you guys in, or was it more the doctrine or the preaching?
The doctrine, I can say, was only like a third of it, but like the majority of it was that everybody that I met embraced me immediately. They didn't care about my background. They didn't care where I came from. They saw how dirty I was, how imperfect I was, and yet they still cared about me. They went out of their way to at some point help my family with groceries, to show up to my birthday parties. And I would even argue that these people have been more of my family than even my blood relatives, because I believe that everybody's made in God's image, and especially once you're adopted into God's family, you become a part of his kingdom, that you begin to become like God. And I saw God's face in a lot of the people around me, and how their kindness and their mercy and their grace that they showed on my family, which made me want to keep coming back, because that's something that I never got for even from my extended family um, or from the Catholic Church the times that I did go. So yeah.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah, that's beautiful because sometimes, you think about my life, I grew up in the church. So it's like, you see a different perspective. So what would your message be for people that are in the assembly? You know what I mean? I mean, of course in the church, but because, our base is generally in the assembly. What would you say to them in terms of reaching out to the lost,
I just, in my opinion, or what I think is just be yourself. I mean, this even applies with being a conservative. Just admit your beliefs. Just be vocal, be out there, because it's unpopular to not sleep with anybody before you're married. It's not popular to not smoke. It's not popular to do all these worldly things. And once people start to realize how happier you are and how you don't need those things, yes, it's been hard. Been presented with so many opportunities to do what God doesn't like, but just being honest and just standing firm on your convictions, and people would rather follow somebody that's honest than somebody who is living a double life, or somebody who confirms to the status quo.
That is straight facts. That is straight facts. I don't know if you've ever heard of this saying, but in the assembly we say it all the time, and we say con la falda larga, pero también con la lengua larga. So it's, you know what I mean? Like it's I understand. I understand. It's this would be real. This would be true. You know what I mean? But that's amazing. That's beautiful. I'm praise God that you're one of my friends, and that I had no idea about that. About you, with your family and all that stuff. But going on. So you said that you went to your first event. So how did that come up? Like, did somebody tell you about your first event?
So me and a good friend of mine, we founded a conservative group on campus. We were originally Turning Point, but we switched to Young Americans for Freedom, and we just wanted to get involved, and we just wanted to meet people on my side, because I had no conservative friends, and I didn't know who to socialize with, because certain groups didn't want me because I was too traditional and I believed in these things. And then I just didn't fit in, and me and a couple of friends were like, yeah, let's go to this conference. And unfortunately one of them dropped out at the time because he had the flu, but luckily I was still able to get there, and that was the first time I saw the Vice President Mike Pence speak, and it was such a thing. And even though I didn't get a picture, I got to shake his hand, but it was great. So yeah, that's kind of how I started getting involved, and a little bit later I'll talk about how to get involved in the different groups on campus. So yeah, that's how I had the privilege to attend a conference.
That's super cool. And I mean, for you, Mike Pence, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, all these conservatives, politicians, they're kind of like Kobe Bryant for you, you kind of like seeing them. So
yeah.
How is it going up to them? Are they cool? How are they?
Well, I can say Mike Pence is a very nice guy. He's very soft-spoken.
Yeah.
He's a man of God, and I thank the Lord that we have somebody like him in office. Although our president right now isn't the nicest, and he expresses himself very vulgarly, I thank God that at least we have somebody like Mike Pence to look to. And Ted Cruz, he's a very funny guy. I actually asked him a question, and I mean, it was cool. I was a little nervous. I was shaking because it was like Ted Cruz, but it's been great. Same for Marco Rubio. He's a little more serious, but he's also a nice guy. So, yeah, I think the nicest person. They're all nice people, but somebody that I was not shy to talk to was, out of all the people that I've met, I would probably argue that Ted Cruz was the most chill person.
Wow, that's super cool. I saw this post during high school season, and it was Ted Cruz. He was coming out of a bus or something, and then some guy comes up with a note, and he tells him, "Can you read this to my girlfriend?" And he's like, "Will you cruise your way to prom with me?" So I thought that was kind of cool. So
that is cool.
They mentioned that. That's super cool because we always see these guys on TV, right? The last election, right, when it was I mean, in the end, what is it? It was Kasich, Donald Trump, and Marco Rubio, right? But I mean, I kept up with all of that too. I feel like that was one of the craziest elections we have witnessing in the history, right? So that was a crazy election. But I mean, you see them up there. They're kind of like not uptight, but they're politicians. So it's like I wonder how they are outside, like outside of having to look perfect in front of the everybody else on the TV. But that's super cool. That's super cool. So I mean, I know people say let's not mix up church with politics and all that different stuff, and I know that's a huge thing in the church as well. So you being not a conservative or a Democrat or anything like that, but you just being into politics, has that like played some sort of like judgment towards you within the church, or has there been any opposition being a part of that and also being in the church?
Well, this is a majority Hispanic congregation that we're talking about, and a lot of them are like undocumented immigrants. And like I said, I love all people, and I hope that one day that there is a better path to citizenship and to give people the opportunity to become Americans, to become integrated into our country. But at the same time, I believe that there is a process that we must follow. And it isn't a country with open borders. If that's the case, then we're just a piece of land. But if I always have believed that no matter what your immigrant status is, that you can still identify as a conservative if you're a Christian, because you can advocate for life, you can stand up for liberty. Because I mean, politics are just everywhere in the Bible. I mean, we saw it with Joseph when he was appointed governor of Egypt. His job was to make sure that for the next 7 years he would provide for his family and that he would provide for the people of Egypt. And same thing with Esther. Esther was anointed by God and put in by God to protect the Jews and to deliver them from persecution. And I think that if you tell somebody who's like, yeah, I'm totally anti-politics, if you tell them that in the church, saying, hey, Joseph, King David, King Solomon, I mean, these were all intelligent, godly people that God said, hey, we need these godly people in society. Because I feel like now we live in such a godless society that you need somebody to stand out. You need somebody to be different. You need somebody to stand up for the unborn. And I think that once you talk to these people who disagree with you and say, hey, but we're both pro-life, we both believe that God knit us in our mother's wombs, we both believe that God made me fearfully and wonderfully made. And once you get them on those points, that's when I think it changes the conversation. They're like, oh yeah, I agree with you. I may not be legal, but like, I agree with you and I'm on your side. And hey, can I have more information on how to attend the March for Life? Because you don't necessarily have to attack politics by voting or canvassing, even just attending your March for Life, volunteering at a pregnancy center, just offering your service to the public, saying like, hey, you don't need government to help you, need God to help you, and therefore I believe that God called me to help you, so I'm going to help you. So yeah.
That's good. That's good. With that being said, do you think that there's maybe, or what do you think would be the reason why people aren't so open into going to politics? Like maybe somebody out there, maybe in this life, that want to go into politics, they're like, I don't know. Like, what do you think? What do you think is holding people back, and what do you think can help them to take that leap of faith or that step to get involved?
I think it's the way the media portrays it, and I can tell you firsthand, no matter what party it is, I can even tell you for my party, it's not perfect. There is a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes, and this is also true for the other side. And I think that once you tell people, hey, it's not a perfect system, but a lot of the people here, like 90%, 99% of the people involved are there to fight on your side. It doesn't matter if what their occupation is. It's like, it's the party is all one big family, and we're all like fighting together. And once you say, hey, like if you're a student, there are ways to get involved. It can even start by joining your local Young Republicans club. Yes, it's a bunch of boomers and they're all 30 and up, but I mean, it's still fun. Lots of free food and stuff. And you get to network with a lot of people, and this could even mean getting good letters of recommendation, and this could mean talking to some pretty important people. Like over the summer, I'm going to go to a fundraiser to go see Senator Lindsey Graham, and I would not have been able to do that if I didn't know somebody in the Young Republicans. And getting involved in great organizations like Young Americans for Freedom, and these organizations, they believe in the fight for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for young people. And all these young people get to travel all across the country for basically like a nickel. They get to stay in 4-star hotels, meet great people like Melania Trump, even the president himself, Mike Pence, Ted Cruz, and just starting at your local level, going to your local GOP officer, contacting your local chairman and saying, hey, I'd like to get involved, but I don't know how to get involved. Honestly, just type in Facebook, like, I don't know, like Lake County GOP, and it'll pop up. So that would be my way of getting involved. That's how I got involved.
That's super cool. That's amazing. Okay. I know because me and you, we've talked about this so many different times, like on Snapchat and stuff. Like, when I'm at discount, when I used to work at Discount Tires, like, all right, I'm off on break. I'll talk about it later. But like, because I know it can get kind of confusing on how things work. Can you see, or can you like kind of match like how the assembly works within districts and within churches and within like let's say like regions and stuff? Can we kind of connect that with like the same system that they have, or is it way different?
So at least I know for my state, the way it's organized is it's super complicated. There are multiple levels of government. Like there is even government for the people that manage like your sewer. Like it's crazy. But so for this, how I think, so we, at the top, we have our like president, then we have our senators and our congressmen, and then below that we have our like state governors, and then below that we have like your attorney generals and all that fun stuff, your secretaries, and then below that you have your, at a party level, you have your county chairs, and below that you have your township chairs, and even below that you have your precinct committee. And I kind of hopped a few levels, but it can kind of be compared, like there is an authority. Like I know the assembly has a secretary for a president, a secretary, a vice president, all that for the men's group, and for the women's group, and for the youth group. And it's kind of, or just like how you have different departments and like nationwide, you have a department of agriculture, you have a department of defense, and I think it could kind of be compared. But yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's super cool. Yeah, I know it's super broad, kind of not crazy, but I know it's super duper like you learn as you go. No,
I'm learning something new every day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So I know that you have also like you run campaigns, no?
Yeah. So I first started like as an intern in my former governor's campaign, and then I just kind of started just donating my time to different candidates. Like I was a high school outreach coordinator for a congressional campaign for my district. She will be the first Mexican American to challenge the Illinois 10 that seat. So it was such an honor to be a part of that. But it just involved a lot of door knocking, a lot of phone calls, talking to people, getting spat on your face, getting called different things. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people, and I know it doesn't seem that glamorous. It's not what gets you immediately elected, but I can tell you, starting from the boots on the ground and just grassroots is key. Because yes, you can raise all the money, but at the end of the day, if you don't have that face-to-face connection with the voter at the door, then what's the point? And this could even be tied to the gospel. Like you can have the biggest like mega church, and you can have like Joel Osteen money, but like if you aren't connecting with the people, going out of your way saying, hey, let me tell you about the love of Jesus, then you're not going to connect. It just won't work. So it's all very much connected.
Okay, that's great. That's amazing. Yeah. And this is just a personal question that I've always wanted to answer from. So I don't know if anybody out there has seen the show House of Cards, right? But is that even remotely close to what happens with like the political like spectrum or the political sphere? Or is there also another movie out there that can maybe like we can kind of like see how it kind of goes down?
I've never seen House of Cards, so
And check it out.
yeah,
Check it
no.
out.
But I will watch it. I guess I'll watch like an episode today. But I would have to say, just go and experience it firsthand. You won't know till you're actually there. It ranges anywhere from listening to old boomers go over minutes like at like central committee meetings to like actual drama and actual lying and cheating and stuff. So it ranges anywhere from no action to like full on drama. So I just say just throw your hat in and just get involved and you'll see it firsthand.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully maybe after this whole entire thing's done, hopefully people who are watching right now, or even myself, can maybe just get involved with that stuff, you know? That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
sure.
That's really cool. So here's my next question, and I know I kind of already prepared you for it, but I know that there are a lot of different opinions on our president right now, right? A lot of
Yeah.
different opinions, either good or bad, or really, really good, or ugly, 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 right?
Yeah.
So what do you think Donald Trump's going to do, let's say, with this situation with like legal immigrants and DACA recipients?
That's kind of a loaded question, but unfortunately, I think that he will have to go a little bit more moderate on this issue because we live in a time of our country where our population is changing. White people are predicted to be the minority by like 2035 or 2040. And people are starting to flip the conversation of maybe this option is not so realistic. Open borders are not realistic. Neither are completely closing the border and shutting off immigration. And my prediction is that he will take a more Reagan-esque approach by implementing a policy such as IRCA or the amnesty program that President Reagan was able to grant, I believe, like 2 million undocumented immigrants. And Trump may end up doing that in the meantime, like closing up the borders, because I know he's currently working on building that wall. And great. But I think that he will definitely toughen up border security. And I think in all this, he will realize that trying to round up everybody and deport them is not going to be a reasonable idea and it's not realistic. So I think that he will potentially take a more moderate approach to immigration and find not necessarily a path to citizenship, because giving citizenship is not would totally defeat the purpose of coming here and trying to do it the right way and stuff. So I think he may grant some sort of amnesty and grant some sort of mercy for those who came here illegally. In the meantime, doing a better job than President Reagan at securing the borders. And I think the same thing will apply to DACA students. And yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So if you were to like, let's say you were president, right? Or let's just say Donald Trump did it right now. What would be the extreme, extreme, extreme in terms of like, you know, him like shutting down borders, like the far, far like right, I guess you say, right? Even though I'm holding my left hand, all right? Or the far, far left where it's like, everybody come in, like we have open borders. What would you think would happen in these two scenarios?
Like I said previously, probably some sort of path to amnesty. I'm not saying as lax as Ronald Reagan's IRCA, but it may be a more moderate, like, hey, there will be heavy consequences if we find you trying to hop the border. And it'll probably lead to things implemented, like, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago in Arizona, Senate Bill 1017, where former Governor Jan Brewer would implement one of the toughest and roughest immigration laws, where anybody who offered jobs or licenses to undocumented immigrants would be put in jail, or they would have to serve jail time, similar to the Sensenbrenner here in Wisconsin, where he implemented he tried to implement the Sensenbrenner bill that would eventually die in the Senate. And I think that President Trump may end up going tougher on border crimes, and he will amp up the energy on fighting the war on drugs and reducing the opioid epidemic, because unfortunately 500 Americans are being victims of heroin and fentanyl and all these drugs on the market, and these 500 Americans are dying every week, and that is ridiculous. And I think as a president, he's like, yeah, even though you have to cut off the consumer, I don't want there to be a product in the first place that tempts like the consumer. And I think that he may go harder on border security potentially. My prediction is he will want to remove troops from the Middle East and maybe bring our soldiers home and make an effort to toughen up the borders. But everybody that is here illegally, he will provide some sort of amnesty and some sort of way to become literate in English, because I do know of undocumented immigrants that do pay taxes and that do contribute to society, that want to become a part of society. You know, and in my opinion, and I know a lot of conservatives will disagree, it would be so unfair just to round them up and just send them to the other side, because they have planted their roots here, they have children here, and that would be kind of counterproductive in my opinion. But those are my predictions for immigration.
Wow, that's amazing. That's true. That's true. Um, so, yeah, that's amazing, because I know that there's like, I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of people in the world right now that, you know, if they go with, like, I guess, you know, support Donald Trump, or maybe not support, but in this case support, they'll be like, everything he says like has to go. But it's okay, right? It's okay to disagree with certain things that he says, right? Let's say if you like, well, I understand that a lot of people that don't know so much politics, they're kind of like, all right, I'm either conservative or I'm either a liberal. I'm either,
There's
you know,
so much gray area in the middle.
yeah,
So
exactly.
much gray area in the middle.
That's, yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. That's amazing though. So I understand. I mean, dude, political, it's crazy. Politics is ridiculous. But what would your message be for and this would be like your bipartisan message, right? For both sides, something that you have felt in your heart, that if you can like have every Republican, every Democrat, every liberal, whatever, and like the whole entire spectrum, right? If you had one thing they can tell them, what would it be?
Remember why you are in that office in the first place. What made you not sleep for several hours? Because it takes a lot of work to go into a campaign, lots of money, lots of people hiring, lots of people that are being hired and fired. And why are you in that office in the first place? And remember that all these leaders, I don't care if it's Kim Jong-un, if it's whomever, but I believe that all leaders were appointed by God, and it even says in the Bible that we should pray for our world leaders and our government and the people in charge. And my reminder to them would be, remember why you ran the campaign, because yes, some people do it for power, and yes, some people do it to get famous, but I think that everybody, no matter who you are, even AOC, Ilhan Omar, they have a little bit of good in them, and they have a little bit of compassion in their hearts. And just remember, they're serving the people, that they're not there to make themselves look greater, but to serve the public.
That's good. That's powerful. That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. Another question would be, you know, I understand there's a lot of people that don't really know where to find their information. Where would you find your information? You know what I mean?
I would just, some great organizations or think tanks, in my opinion, are probably like the Cato Institute. That's a more libertarian leaning organization. But if you're looking to argue on the side of more fiscally conservative ideas, then the Cato Institute is a great resource. And then if you're looking for a more traditional all-American conservative, another great think tank is the Heritage Foundation. Lots of great sources. And I know it seems kind of counterproductive to say Fox News, but I mean, just go shopping around in different news sources and just go looking and seeing what side you agree with more, because I think it would be counterproductive, and I wouldn't be pro-freedom if I'm telling you, hey, go vote for Donald Trump or go follow this person. Just go look for your resources, shop around, look for different news sources, because both sides, I don't care if it's Fox or whatever, I think that both sides have a little bit of truth to them. And I recommend that you don't go for any website that says .com. Even Wikipedia isn't good, but just reading a lot of good books. Like, I recommend this great book called The Myth of the Robber Barons. It goes into detail about these robber barons, such as uh, were the Rockefellers or Vanderbilt, when in reality these were great American entrepreneurs, and you will not learn that in your history classes, and you will not learn these things. But if you read another great book I recommend is Profiles in Corruption, and that talks about the corrupt campaign about the Clinton family, Bernie Sanders, Amy Klobuchar, and a lot of other Democrats. So just reading different books. I will actually, if you're interested in reading different conservative books, feel free to DM me. I will gladly send you different sources and different places to get your information, because there is a lot of false information out there.
That's good. Somebody right here said, the Cameron card, something like that, is Instagram name. He says, reading over most news outlets for conservative commentary. So you think reading would be better? Like if you had a choice?
Yes, yes. And I can tell you that if you read, at least you know that I believe that all literature has a purpose, and the purpose is to persuade. And if you read something that in the back of the book, you'll find all these sources, and they're correctly cited, and they know their stuff, then I would recommend reading that, in opposed to reading an article that you found on the Daily Wire or even Fox News or BuzzFeed News.
That's good. That's good. And that's good for me because, all I listen to is Ben Shapiro, bro. Like, I understand that.
Okay, he's great. He's great. Don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
if we're all about freedom, if we're all about being free thinkers, then putting your trust in one human and in one person, that could actually be very dangerous. Yes, I love Ben Shapiro. I love Michael Knowles and Bert Folsom. But if you go and read from different perspectives, because Ben Shapiro actually has very different opinions from his colleagues, or can have very different opinions from his colleagues on the Daily Wire. So if you just get a little bit from everybody here and there and you learn a lot, then I think that will definitely help you solidify your point of view. Because if all you're doing is watching Ben Shapiro, then these are Elias' ideas, these are Juana's ideas, these are Ben Shapiro's ideas. And I think that once you pick your resources from everybody, then those start to become your ideas.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I'd be picking up some talking points from Ben Shapiro, and it's like I don't even think for my own anymore. I'm like, all right, what should I think? What should you think? And then maybe I'll listen to it, right? And I feel like that's a lot of our issues, right? So there's been times where I've listened to like the Young Turks, maybe just to see the other extreme.
Oh, I watched the Young Turks.
Yeah.
When I'm having a bad day and I need like a little comedy and
It's funny. No, that's good. That's good. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. This is not the last question, but actually, yeah, it's the last question. But I understand that maybe people can probably think like, well, I don't have time. Like, I'm apostolic, I'm Christian, I'm whatever denomination, or maybe not. But you don't have any time. Like at work, I do this, I do that, I do this. Tell them what you do, because you're also heavily involved in church, no?
Yeah. Well, I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. I think that if you make a playlist with different podcasts, I will actually, if you DM me, I will gladly send you some great resources. My friend Cameron, who's commenting, he also has a great podcast. He's interviewed people such as Will Witt from PragerU, Anna Strasberg, and other great freedom fighters. And his podcast is one of my favorite podcasts. He's a year younger than me, but man, the things that this kid is capable of. But if you can give him a follow, that would be great. But if you listen to a lot of music, if you listen to a lot of things, I know a lot of Christians struggle with listening to ungodly music and worldly music, but once you say, hey, instead of that, I'm going to switch it with a podcast from the Fireside Chat, or like the Fireside Chat, the podcast is only 30 minutes. It's by Dennis Prager, and they go by fast. He keeps it interesting. He asks questions, and just finding little times in your day, even if you're in the shower, like I'll listen to the Ben Shapiro show while I'm in the shower. If I'm not listening to like Jesus Adrian Romero, it's like the Ben Shapiro show. So yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. And you told me that at your church you sing praise team, and you
Yeah,
also
I help with translation and
translation.
children's ministry. Yeah.
Wow. So guys, you can do it. You can do it, guys. I understand. I feel like many people in the church are, and this is why I wanted to start this, because I feel like there are so many people within the church that are slept on. And before I continue, thank you, the Cameron Can.
Arcan.
Cameron Arcan, nice to meet you, bro. I'm Elias. Hey, maybe I can have him on here one day. So I'll follow you, buddy. Follow me back. Imagine. Just kidding. Anyways, so I feel like, dude, I lost my train of thought. What am I saying? Um, Dude, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Does that ever just happen to you, bro? Like, oh my gosh, give me a second.
Oh yeah, I lost my train of thought like 5 times, like in the past hour.
Dude, this happens. This happens. I'm new to this, guys. Please don't judge me. I think what I was gonna say is, yes, people in the church, we tend to make a lot of excuses to not do something. I feel like there's so many people, and this is what I was getting at. There's so many people that can contribute to the church and people that contribute to the world at the same time. You know what I mean? Some people in the church that are doing many different things. They're not just preaching. They're not just teaching. They're not just ushering. They're not just playing an instrument. They're not just prophesying, but they're also doing things in the world that can benefit us, right? There's a lot of Christian entrepreneurs out there. I know that it's a handful, but there's a lot of Christian politicians out there too that are slept on. So this is the purpose of why I'm doing this, so people can see that there are many different options to go throughout your life. Like, yes, have your church life, but how about let's impact the world in our secular life as well. Let's do something. Let's contribute to someone. And I have you here to inspire somebody, hopefully, to continue moving forward and doing stuff. So guys, Juana is a busy girl. She's only 18 years old, but she's a busy girl, like crazy busy, crazy, organizing events, doing all this stuff, but yet faithful at church. So guys, if she can do it, so can you. Right.
And I can tell you that it's been super hard. There have been times where I'm going to be honest, I haven't been faithful. And my advice would just keep in communication with God. This is what I've been doing lately, is that remember who is your God. That I know sometimes your job can eventually become your God because it's all that you think of. That's all that you do. And it can be super hard. But once you have organization, you say, hey, this Sunday or Saturday, that's for God, that's for nobody else, and you just keep that in mind. And that would kind of be my secret to kind of having it, because I believe that nobody has it all together, that we all struggle with different things, but that's how I've attempted to keep organized.
That's great. That reminds me of the scripture, and I don't know which one it is, but it says, I am the vine and you guys are the branches, which means like everything that you do must go before God before it goes with you. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's your job, whether it's your schooling, right? Whether it's your career, let's go first to the source, which is Jesus Christ, right? And I feel like that should be a message for anybody who wants to, because how you said, it is hard, it's tough, but it's doable. And I think if we can all just get together and see that there are many different people out there in the church that are doing it, we will flourish in the end of the day, right? But that concludes. Any last words that you want to share to somebody or anything?
I think that's it for me. God bless you guys. I believe that there will be lots of great entrepreneurs. I mean, that God has prophesied over your life. I feel like now than ever, God is closer, and He is anointing different young people to be preachers, to prophesy, to have the gift of healing, and I cannot wait to see what God will do with all of you. And so, yeah.
That's right. I mean, in the midst of this coronavirus season, I've already told my friends in the Bible studies that I've been having, and it's, we're in the brink of a huge revival. So, even if there's anybody out there, this is prophetic. What we're living through right now is prophetic. This is in the Bible. We can see it in I think it's 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 13 to 14, right? And I've said it many times in my lives, and I keep on repeating myself, and it might sound like a broken record, but I'm passionate about this, and it makes sense. So anybody out there that you do not know about Jesus Christ, yes, do everything in the world that you need to do, but also remember to come back to the feet of Christ, because without Him, we're nothing. Without Him, we won't have health. Without Him, we're literally just, specks of dust walking within the universe, So, guys, just remember to, like someone just said, look up. That's right, look up. Look up. It's funny. It's gonna be look up to the feet of Jesus, because that's just how great He is and how high He is. But thank you so much, Juana. I appreciate this. It's just my second interview, guys. Do not judge me, okay? We're all new to this. I
Yeah.
understand that Juana. I was a little nervous too, but you know, we're all getting through this. But thanks so much, Juana. Appreciate it. I'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Bye, Elias.
Thank you. Bye bye. I'll see you.